citrus trees out there, and a frame garage out there in one corner. Where Papa always kept things painted, the house painted white and the garage white and the store white. And there was an oat patch, it's an oat field there, and they'd put certain stock in there before they were shipped to market or something, not many. And then there was the school ground. And back of that red school building, there was a couple of chick sales out there, one for the boys, one for the girls, And maybe a bush or two. There were some bushes around where the girls was, but I don't think there was anything around the boys over there, further over on the west side. And a basketball court out there on the far side over there. And Mr. Landrum made a nice tennis court just west of the school building, and I played a lot of tennis when I was in school with him in the high school. And I went to the county meet and the regional meet and things like that in tennis, but I really liked it, it was fun. And then I can't think of anything else that was on the school ground except, they had baseball diamonds. There was one for the high school kids and one for the grade school children. And our PE was outside in the sun. And nobody wore a hat. So, that's what the doctor told me. He said, your spots coming from that time when you got out in the sun so much. But Patty and Maury were the only ones that really got to ride horseback over the ranch. So of course Jesse did too when he wanted to. But he didn't take the ranching too good. I'm surprised that he loses patience with and horses and things. And I guess when he was in school, he didn't have a bit of trouble learning anything. So he would learn ahead of the other kids. He had some spare time on his hand. Now how he'd do that? He'd pick on them. And he'd have fun getting them all ironed up and then run from them. And they'd chase him and have it in for him. And I mean, but he didn't seem to mind. He, Frank Smith and Grace Harr, Joyce's sister, not friends and such. I mean, nothing personal. Just the three of them. They love to do things. And is that kind of people play hooky from school? You know what that means? I mean, in country, it's serious. But he never had any trouble learning. And math was nothing to him, really. So I didn't know him much in school. He was always in another part of the school from me. And in first grade, I don't remember where Jesse was. He must have been in the other room, because I think it's first, second, and third in that first part of that one-room school building with a ducking curtain in the middle. And the big ones are over there on the other side, and you couldn't see them or hear them hardly. And there weren't many, but there were about 40, there were less than 100 children in the school, all county. But they were all one-on-one with teachers that were fresh out of college that needed the experience. And they'd get it at that school later. So it was really all right for a country kid. But they went as far in the book as they could learn, and they didn't make them finish the book. That's why when I took the state exam, they asked me to give them the area of a circle, and we hadn't gotten that far. Can you imagine somebody that doesn't even know the beginning of how to figure out what is the area of a circle? Not that it bothered me. I certainly wasn't going to be an architect. But what could you say? I didn't know anything about pi r squared, but I remembered it from then on. I said, what are you doing? I went and got the geometry book, and I looked, why is that so easy? Just 3.14 times the radius squared, and you got it. Oh, man. But anyway, that was the one problem I met. but I made 79, which is close to 80, on that geometry. So that passed me for college, and I made good grades in literature and civics and things like that, Spanish. The things that I'd had since I went to the 1 year in Boston High School, and it wasn't. But he's one credited. I think that I was the only person that finished at that school that went to college.
Now you said that your mom and dad, they only got up third grade is all?
Third grade. And I learned the reading, writing, arithmetic. And what they learned after that, they read.
Okay.
And when people are determined to go ahead, they learn. If they've got the basics, they learn the rest. They make themselves learn. It's like those people. And here in 6 weeks they can speak English.
How did she become musically inclined? I mean, Papa said that she learned music, or...
See, there was music in the family, and my mother and father both had good voices, and they sang. Sometimes at home they would sing, and they would harmonize, on the piano. And then Matey and Joe took piano in Dilley when they would go back and forth from here over there in a little T-model showcase coupe, one seat. And they took music lessons there. And then when Joe graduated from Dilley High School, she was the valedictorian of her class. And there were about 20 people in the class. I guess there were that many. The picture's in the hall there, didn't. And she got a scholarship to the university, so she went. And stayed with grandmother in Austin. And Katie, and they had to keep them in line. But, Katie and Mary were two maiden ladies, old maids. And they were very particular. Grandmother taught them to be. She was careful. And they took music. Well, all right, you hear it, and I'd hear my mother play, and I would sit down when I was 3 and play Home Sweet Home, and Little Dog, Where's My Little Dog Gone? And Mom put in my baby book that I sang recognizable songs when I was 1.5 years old.
Wow.
So I had the ear for music, and I loved music. Never happy without it. In fact, all the time I hear it. Do you hear music? I hear music all the time.
I guess I do.
Yeah. And sometimes it applies to what you're doing. You'll be doing something and this song will come into mind that has to do with it.
Where did your mom learn music from then? Learn it from?
Well, see, when she was young, her parents were very poor. I think Grandfather Birdwell was a
what?
Watkins. He sold products in the little truck. Traveling around out in the country and everywhere. Watkins products, cooking products, and a few other vanilla and all things, and some medicine, tonic, helps, everything that country people would use. And he sold those, and they were making a great bunch. But Aunt Minnie Birdwell, the one from Sherman Birdwell, met and daughter about Mama's age, and Stella became real good friends. They were cousins, and Mama to come live with him. And Stella and Jewel, her other daughter, were taking voice and piano or whatever. where she got her musical training in voice and piano. And that was very, very simple. Those times, just an ordinary home teacher wouldn't teach a whole bunch of stuff. It would have to almost go to a conservatory to really get on up there in music. But she did learn enough, and she taught, my mother taught all of us that wanted to learn. And she taught, I think she taught Ruth Alley, who was the girl that grew up on it. And she taught Rosie Mae Thompson, who was the wife of, in the church, in the Sunday school, played sometimes while Rosie Mae learned, I think, from them, I'm not sure. A few people like that, she taught. As little as she knew about music, she taught them. And she'd get these music books and teach them. But that's how I got started with it. But then Maddie played, you know, in those years when I was young. She was about 8 years older than me, and she was my idea. And so she played, but she was very talented, and she learned a lot more than the rest of them did. And she would play it, you know, at home, and I could just sit by the hour and watch her play. And, or listen to her play whatever else she wanted to play. But it got kind of loud when she get those jazz pieces that were in the gay 20s. Oh man, clapper music. And it was loud, you know, and that bass, and it was, let's see, when my sweetie comes down the street, all the little birdies go tweet, tweet. Songs like that, you know. But I thought maybe it is really sad. And so, you know, people would start buying sheet music and giving it to her, and to hear her play it. And so Papa told us, I mean, he didn't tell us. We got the word, though, from Sister Jewel. She was good. And you don't go out with the guys on dates until you're 16. You don't care how much you like them. You just forget it. And so, but when Maddie was 16, she went out with the guys, and she would have dates, you know, and the rest of us kind of timid and shy and stupid and all that sort of thing. We had two brothers. One of them was very nice, Maury, but Jesse was such a you couldn't say he was wild, but he sure would have been wilder if my father hadn't been after him a little bit, because he really was. He had a natural bent for being a stinker. Don't you tell him I said he won't help matters. It's bad enough. I mean, he wanted something to hate me for. Well, anyway, I thought guys were like Jesse, you know, and you couldn't trust them. And so, and Jewel helped me out a lot. She was really, she meant well, but she had nothing to say but to try to scare people. And she had me thinking that it was downright dangerous to even get out and walk down the sidewalk in Austin, because some guy might come down the street. Well, I don't know what possessed her to make me feel that way, because I took it seriously. Oh man, she bound to be telling the truth here. Well, she wasn't telling all of the truth. I didn't realize that they were as shy as I was, and a lot of times it felt the same way I did. And they weren't up for meanness or trouble. That's just the criminals. And so help me, she told me that. And so I wouldn't even speak to them. I wouldn't even look at them when they were looking at me, because I was afraid of them all. And that's no way to treat a child. And so I just didn't have any ambitions. That didn't mean that I didn't take a liking to a few of them. You saw my album. But that was college. I didn't take the pictures of the others. I had my first crush when I was in the 3rd grade, and I mean, that was a rough, oh man, he was a kid. But he grew up to be an Aggie corpsman, and he led his battalion. He'd get out there in the parade, and he was marching in front of all of this. Well, I'm sure he must have changed his ways. Of course, you wouldn't have gone through A&M behaving like he did. But he and Jesse got along pretty good, but Jesse palled around with his older brother. They were friends. But this little twerp, when his mama shaved his head because he played with a Mexican, got lice, he got mad and I called him Baldy. He got so mad, and he and some other guys on a PTA night, Joyce and I were playing together. You know, I knew Joyce a long time. He got some other boys to go with him, and he took a sharp pocket knife and he cut the swing rope till he was just barely there. And then, oh, don't y'all want to go swinging? And we did. And Joyce's mother was sitting out there in the car taking care of one of her babies, one of her 9 babies, man, one a year. And she was out there and she said, you know, I'll tell you girls, those boys cut that swing rope. Don't get in that swing. Well, there were several swing letters. We didn't get it. And they, little stinkers, they sneaked around and they were peeking around the corner so they'd see us when we swing up high and fall. Isn't that hateful? Well, but he was that way, and I thought he was cute. Oh, man. But anyway, that just shows a poor judgment. I guess it's good. Joe scared me. But anyway, I liked that very, I don't know. He was well behaved when he had to. He knew what he was. He was thinking, I'm sure. But he wasn't around very long. And I don't know. But going to school was really the most fun I ever had when I was a kid growing up. I loved school. And we would have programs for PTA, but I never played the piano. I would sing sometimes, duets, where I would have to sing the outro. But no, I was number 5, and you know, by that time, you get an attention, you're happy. You didn't know what that was like. But I tell you, now you have all those sisters, and not a brother. But you have your uncles that weren't too far removed from you, or your cousin. You don't have, you do have some cousins. You have Tim and who else?
Jason.
Oh, Jason. Jason was wild. But Tim, and
Tammy, and Todd.
Went to A&M.
Yeah. Well, Todd is in Austin.
I thought he was in.
Oh wait, no, he's in San Antonio now. He
going to Texas University.
I can't remember where he's going now.
Late is it late? Incarnate Word? No.
No, I don't remember.
St. Mary's? What's he studying, law?
No, I'm not even familiar with what he's doing right now. I know that he was going to Austin to school, and then he quit and moved to San Antonio.
Went to San Antonio?
Todd, yeah.
How old is Todd?
Not even sure. Young 20s.
He's in his college years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tim is the one that's working at NASA?
Mm-hmm. He's in Houston at
I
NASA.
thought Todd was in him too. Well, San Antonio, they have schools from all around. Technical schools.
Oh,
University of Texas, and of course the Catholic schools, St. Mary's, Lady of the Lake, Incarnate Word, and Phillips, St. Philip's Professional. But I don't know about A&M. I guess they do have something there. But I know that, don't they have something in New Valley? Or it's just
they have some kind of college in New Valley, but
and one down in Corpus.
yeah,
I know a girl
Corpus.
that from our church is going there to one of the schools that A&M had. But anyway.
Oh, I know Papa. He didn't. I don't think he
didn't
knows much information on.
He didn't bother with that.
Oh, with the college and stuff.
You know, He went to Bryan Academy. Papa sent him there because he was just too out of place in the school here. It was too slow or something, and he got into too much mischief or something, and so he sent him to college, Bryan at Allen Academy for his 11th year in high school, and he didn't pass his trigonometry, and so he didn't graduate. Now, as far as I know, he never did, because that summer he came home wearing the uniform, looking real pert and sassy, and Aline met him. And they decided that they liked each other real good. So he went to San Antonio and got a job. And that February after that, they got married. So I didn't think he went to college in any way, ever. He wouldn't have fit into A&M because those corpsmen would have laid him low. I mean, he really had it rough. Pat said it was terrible. And he didn't tell me how many people committed suicide in that way. It was too much for him. And there were times when he wanted to quit and come home. But the reason he didn't is because he knew I was teaching school so he could go. And he didn't tell me what a hard time he was having. He told Daddy, but he didn't tell me. Because he knew it would worry me or something. But he made it through that first year, and it was real hard for him. Because he hadn't had any kind of military training at all. But he learned it that first year, and after that, it was very straight-laced, but he knew what to do. He was a good student,